Patch 4.04 for No Man's Sky Waypoint has now gone public. It's a big patch with some crazy changes, so here's just the stuff you care about, without all the fluff. Firstly, this patch will give all saves that existed before patch 4.0 10 extra technology slots. The note itself says additional, so it is possible that 10 is the amount someone with a fully upgraded tech gets, and it scales. A new setting has also been added to the difficulty settings menu that will allow you to lock it down permanently. I tried this on my new Permadoom stream save, and once selected and applied, you are fully locked out of the difficulty settings. The photon cannon, a long-term thorn in the side of many an interloper, can finally be dismantled, provided there is another operational weapon installed. The photon cannon has been made into a very good weapon in this year's updates, but the freedom to remove it is a much appreciated touch. All Starship specialisation bonuses such as damage, shield, hyperdrive and agility have been increased. While bonuses specific to ship type have been a thing for over 5 years, this patch boosts those differences, making it more of a choice when picking what ship you go for. And yes, the agility bonus is a new ship stat for this patch, which boosts manoeuvrability. It potentially boosts the boost stat, meaning movement speed in a ship too, but I'm not certain at this moment. I have all the stats for this, so stick around for after these few notes and we'll get deep into it. 4 sets of procedural upgrade modules have been significantly increased. These are Jetpack, Hazard Protection, Pulse Engine and the Hyperdrive modules. I also have the stats for these which I dug out last night, so we'll be doing some new to old comparison shortly. The chance for an exosuit technology to be broken from incoming damage has been significantly reduced. This is to combat silly things like whip vines one-shotting your hazard protection or life support, leading to, in some cases, the complete loss of your save for little reason. The drop rate of spawning sacks has been increased. Spawning sacks are an item that can sometimes be retrieved on fleet expeditions when you have a living frigate present in the expedition group. Spawning sacks are used to increase slots of living ships. The drop rate was pretty low, so this is a welcome change. The Neuron Cannon's very low damage was a bug and has been fixed. If you stopped using your beloved splash cannon due to little damage, giving it another go, it now burns your enemies alive again. The bug that caused some players to load in to the game floating in space due to their autosave has now been fixed. A bug that caused freighter hyperdrives to not be present has been fixed. From what I heard, this is retroactive for freighters purchased without one, so just double check your stuff. A clash of key bindings which caused you to change the stack size of items while also changing inventory tabs has been fixed. There are a further 47 notes in this patch, which you can see on screen now, available for you to pause if you want all of the less substantial details. It's time to dig into some epic new stats. The majority of stats here have simply been increased by 50%, though this isn't a straight 50% increase across the board. Haulers have had their primary stat of shielding increased from a range of 65 to 85% up to a huge 95 to 125% at S-Class. As for agility, they are unexpectedly the lowest, though they do tie this with living ships, and that is at 15%. Fighters with their primary stat of damage have had a big boost from the previous range of 55 to 60%, now going from 70 to as high as 90%. It's worth noting here that an A-class fighter's damage can go as high as 75% now, meaning there is a crossover where in rare circumstances an A-class fighter will have a higher damage bonus than a very bad S-class. The agility stat for fighters is the second highest at 45% max. Explorers are used for their exceptional hyperdrive range, with bonuses for this previously being anywhere from 60 to 80% at S-Class. This has been increased by 50% on the high end to a range of 90 to 120%. Explorers' agility stats are mid-range with a maximum of 32% at S-Class. Shuttles are all-round ships that are masters of none and not great at all. Damage, shielding and hyperdrive bonuses for shuttles at S-Class maxed out at 20% previously. This is now 30%. With these changes, shuttles are now even further into the mediocre when comparing to the other ship types. However, their agility stat isn't terrible, being higher than explorers at 35% max. Solar ships are somewhat of an improved shuttle in their stat typing. They don't excel at anything in particular, but are great all-rounders with a nice bonus unique technology. Damage is buffed from 60 to 75, shielding from 35 to 50, and hyperdrive from 35 to 50 also. Their agility stat is the third highest at 40% max. Living ships feel as though they've been left behind a little when comparing to others. There always seems to be a better option, however they look cool and have cool weird technology. Damage went from 50 to 75%, shields from 25 to 38, and hyperdrive being tied second with exotics and increasing a maximum from 65% to 95%. Their agility, as mentioned before, is tied worst at 15% max. Lastly are exotics. These are the true all-rounder, though it does excel in a single stat compared to others. As with living ships, exotics have had their damage buffed from 50 to 75, and their hyperdrive buffed from 65 to 95. Though, as before, exotics have superior shields to living ships, which is now magnified, changing from maximum of 60% previously, now up to 90%. Where exotics excel is the new agility stat. They have the highest with a maximum of 50%. At this point I can also confirm that freighters have not received bonus boosts. I can also gladly confirm that this change is retroactive. All of your ships will have been adjusted to these new ranges. However, there is a sad point in that just because you had a max damage or hyperdrive ship before does not mean it is now max in the new ranges. My normal mode fighter that had a damage bonus of 59.9% now has a damage bonus of 77%. This has gone from having the previous highest possible stat, pretty much, to below average in the new range. It is tricky to tell without a fair bit of maths what your bonus is in game for damage and especially shields, though hyperdrive can be quite simple. Now for the changes to procedural technology stats on jetpack, hazard protection, pulse engine and hyperdrives. Movement tech, which is your jetpack, has had its maximum increased by 4.4% for both S and X class maximums. The stats you see on screen are the maximum before and after this patch for S and X class tech. Sprint distance is unchanged. Sprint recovery is also unchanged. Fuel efficiency has had a 25% buff to S class and 20% buff to X class. Initial boost power has been buffed by 50% and 33.3% for S and X class respectively, and recharge rate buffed by 40% and 33.3%. Interesting they didn't buff sprint distance or sprint recovery time, and tank's buff was minor. However, these percentage based stats are compounding, so adjacency bonuses are pretty big for these. Hazard protection is a really nice simple change. The only thing that has changed is a timer buff from B, A and S class procedural modules, which has been buffed by 35%. The damage resistant hidden stat on those modules remains unchanged, and the X class damage resistant modules are also unchanged. Pulse engines have received a significant buff. Fuel efficiency is the only stat that remains unchanged in its maximums, but it's also already powerful anyway. Boost, which covers normal and boost speeds, has had the maximums on S class buffed by 67%, while the X class has been buffed by 50%. Boost maneuverability, which is the maneuverability stat you see on the modules, has been buffed by 50% and 43% for S and X. This, as far as I'm aware, controls handling while boosting. Pulse engines have a hidden maneuverability stat, which is a tiny 0.5% increase to general handling. However, due to how maneuverability works, this is a decent buff and provides very nice adjacency bonuses. This has been increased by 30% on both classes. Lastly, we have the hyperdrive modules, which have the smallest increase of all. I expected S class to at least go up to 300 now, but the increase is merely from 250 to 265 max on S class, and 300 to 320 on X class. Warp cell efficiency is of course unchanged. The increase to warp cells is however significant when taking into account the ship bonus increases. Thank you for watching. I hope the numbers weren't boring, but at least we now know what the new maximums to shoot for are when rolling technology. I'm streaming on Twitch every day up to Monday for the Twitch drops, so pop on over and chill with us while getting some free in-game Quicksilver loot. If you don't know what the Twitch drops are, check out this video and find out how to set it all up. Have a fantastic day, folks.